when I fed my dog, flat tire on a pickup truck. I drank the last of the whiskey, cause I've been real down on luck. Wanted to buy a lotto ticket, but I didn't even have a buck. So I ate the whole bag of doggy treats, cause I just don't give a well. Tried to listen to talk radio, but my stereo it was broke. I went to see a comedian, turned out I was the joke. I got me some fries from Mickey D's, they made me damn near choke. And I'm clean out of cigarettes, so I can't even have smoke. Holy moly, what's going on? I just can't figure it out. It feels like pandemonium, I just wanna scream and shout. Guess I ran my mouth too many times like it was in a big old rice. And now the only thing I got is the frown on my stupid face. Shirts, there are holes all through my jeans. All that's left in my cupboards is 2 cans of sardines. Had to mow the grass and ran over a nest of bees. Now I've got welts rising up from my forehead to my knees. Holy moly, what's going on? I just can't figure it out. It feels like pandemonium, I just wanna scream and shout. Guess I ran my mouth too many times like it was in a big old rice. And now the only thing I got is the frown on my stupid face. Neil prayed, dear Jesus, but he said I can't be saved. Things keep going this way, put me in an early grave. Cut my face on the razor when I went to shave, and in the ocean at the beach got knocked down by a wave. Holy moly, what's going on? I just can't figure it out. It feels like pandemonium, I just wanna scream and shout. Yes, I ran my mouth too many times like it was in a big old rice. And now the only thing I got is the frown on my stupid face. Oh, holy moly, what's going on? I just can't figure it out. It feels like pandemonium, I just wanna scream and shout. Yes, I ran my mouth too many times like it was in a big old rice. And now the only thing I got is the frown on my stupid face. 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 The frown on my stupid face.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever and wherever you are. This is Thomas Christ, and you are watching my Songtember launch show. And that song that you just heard right there was my Songtember song from last year, and it was part of my little side project that I have called Folk You, where it's not really about folk music. It's just anything goes. That's what that's all about. So I wanted to make a country song last year because everybody was doing a country song. So that's what I did. It was called Holy Moly, and that was it right there. I thought it would be fun to kick that off because I really don't have like an intro for this or anything. Let's say hello to some folks who have popped in here. Hello to Gregory. Hello. Semtex Cow, what's going on? Hello, Psycho 7. Hello, John Swanson is in the house. Hello, Rockin' Pneumonia. What is going on, everybody? And it's Semtex says getting a bit of a Primus vibe there, and Psycho 7 says vocals remind me of one of the guys in Rehab. All right, cool. I don't know that band actually, but I have to check that one out. All right, and hello to Stephen Ewert. It's funny that Gregory says it seems chat is working temporarily, because what's happening on my end is that it wasn't letting me type in the chat. I'm going to actually test that out again, but Oh, it worked that time. All right, that's good. Before it was giving me the errors, so the chat is still messed up in YouTube. Anyway, so what we're here to do today, we're just gonna kind of talk a little bit about Songtember and what I'm gonna do. But your first question may be, it probably won't be, but it may be, what the heck is Songtember? What the hell is that all about? Well, so about I think we are at this is the fifth one. So, but it was 4 years ago, back in 2019. A great, wonderful creator out of Adelaide, Australia, mate, called Pete Johns, started this. He has a great channel, Studio Live Today. He demonstrates how to use GarageBand on iOS and many other things related to writing, producing, creating, recording, and releasing songs, which is his whole deal, which I think is an excellent thing. And so he decided to start a. It was just a little thing that he started, just to have some content and stuff like that, and it kind of took off. It kind of got really popular in the next year when we got into 2020. People were like, "Hey, are you gonna do that again?" But I'll let him tell you a little bit about it. From the very first Songtember, I don't think he'll mind me playing a little bit of this here. So this is Pete Johns from the very first Songtember announcing Songtember. So this will probably be the best source to get a little bit more information about Songtember. So I'll hand it over to Pete here and let him tell you what Songtember was all about from the very beginning.
What are we doing here? What are we going to do with Songtember? Well, I've been chatting about this recently, and what I wanted to do is put a challenge out there. And I've done this before, where I've done a songwriting challenge where in 1 month I create, record, and release an entire song end to end. So we're talking the writing process, the songwriting, the recording process in whatever digital audio workstation or however you want to record it, and then actually releasing it at the end of the process. So that is what we are going to be doing this month. And I wanted to throw the challenge out there to you. So if you have never released a song before, then this is your opportunity to actually release your very first song. If you've released 100 songs, well, guess what? You can now release 101 because, it should be a lot of fun. The reason that we're going to do this and the reason I wanted to put this out there is that there's a couple of things that help you out if you've not released before, or if you've been wanting to release more songs and haven't got into it. And there's one of them is to have a time goal. So to say, I'm going to do it by this date, it helps you sort of work backwards and work out what you're going to be doing. And the other is to have a little bit of positive public pressure. And when people hear pressure, they think, oh, pressure. But I think it's actually a good thing because it's a commitment. In fact, I should call it a commitment, not pressure. So having a public commitment where you say, I am going to do this thing, that can actually help you and it can actually make you motivated to actually get the thing done. So
all right, so there you have it. That was the very first initial announcement of Songtember from Pete, and I love what he said there about just making a little bit of a commitment and just making if you've never recorded a song, now's the time to start. And if you've recorded 100 songs, you can do your 101st song. Or if you're like me, you've recorded 250. Maybe it's time for 251 plus. And some of us do, like me and Jade and some other folks will do a little bit more than just one song. Let's see what Gregory said. By the way, hello to Gortium85. What's up? Gregory says, I've made a good start. Actually got the song written yesterday. Wow. Strange, the writing bit is usually the worst for me. That's awesome. Gortium thought that was live. Yeah. I thought about asking him to come on the show, but it was like he did 3 shows in a row yesterday. I didn't want to put him out to come on this one, but yeah, it's pretty cool to actually go back and see like the original announcement. Where did this all come from? And that was it. And it's just grown astronomically from there. So what have I done? So that year, and I was just really first kind of introduced to Pete Johns and Studio Live Today. When that announcement came out, I wasn't even there for that live stream, I don't think, but I know I saw it. A lot of times I wasn't, my schedule was such that I couldn't be there live for a lot of the shows. Hello, Midnight Bandit. Yeah, I'm going to be asking all of you what you guys are all working on in just a little bit. And hello, Jade Star. Welcome. And good morning. But yeah, so I wasn't even there for that show, but I got involved, and I fired up my iPad, and I made a little song in Core Gadget. It wasn't even really officially a Thomas Christ song. Jade is listening, getting my shit ready also. Yeah. So after this, right after this show, you're going to be dumped over to Jade Star, and she's actually going to be starting work on one of her Songtember songs. I think there's a few going on, but yeah. So I just did that little song, and then the next year was 2020, and the world kind of went crazy, and we had to deal with the virus and everything else. And so I made an album, because I always look at things through this really cynical, I like to look at reality through this kind of dark and cynical lens. And so I created this album called Virus. In fact, that was just really a documentation of all the effed up stuff that was going on in the world at the time. So I was already working on that, and then Songtember arrived, and I still wasn't done with it. So I just made one of the songs on the album, the Songtember song, which coincidentally enough is kind of what I'm doing this year. And then in 2021, I did one of my favorite ones was the My Inferno EP, where I used an app called Riffler, which makes guitar riffs, kind of generates guitar riffs that are way better than anything that I could play, because I'm a very rudimentary guitar player, and I used that to create like a new metal 3-song new metal EP, and I loved how that turned out. And then last year I did the Folk U EP, which Gortium will remember, because Gortium was the inspiration for the title, where it was something like "My Mongoose is on fire" or something like that. I can't even remember what it was, but it was a lot of fun though. And I made a couple. There was like maybe 4 songs on there. Redid an old song and made a few new ones. So that's kind of where I've been as far as Songtember. Rockin' Pneumonia says, I've listened through my voice memos and looked in notebook for any ideas I might want to expand on, but haven't settled on anything yet. Yeah, and that's the whole idea. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't know 100% what I'm doing either. Hello to Cold Acre, welcome. I don't know what I'm doing completely yet for this year's Songtember. All I know, I'm still working on an album. I think I've settled on a title. We're going to get to that in a little bit, because I'm actually going to show you. I'm going to start to work on the cover art for it. So if this title sticks, because it's had other titles. Originally it was supposed to be called Disasterbation, and I decided to move away from that one for a variety of reasons. I just don't know that it fits what I'm doing. But Gore Team says, I think it might have been I Don't Mean to Alarm You, but Your Mongoose is on Fire. That sounds closer. You played a big role in coming up with it, so I'm not surprised that you have a better memory than I do. Semtech says, I found an old mini tape recorder, got my mate probably high as fuck talking about a swan on a lake. That's gold right there. So you got to sample that, get that into a DAW, and just fuck with that and manipulate it, and I think you'll be coming up with cool stuff. It was great. And that album was so much fun. Hello, Zach Thong. Just finished dinner, sitting down and relaxing. Hey, yeah, it's Friday. I hope you all are ready to get your weekend started and chill out from probably a busy work week and all that stuff. John Swanson's getting up and getting everything with the Loopy Pro. Yeah, that's a cool app. Actually, on my Patreon, Patreon.com/Thomas Christ. I actually did did some music in that. I did kind of like a little demo and stuff like that. So, and hello, Leni Perez, welcome. Thank you for hitting the like button too. I appreciate that. I gotta say, I was touched the other day that we did the 100th You Rock show, and we actually I was trying to get it to 100 likes. We didn't get there during the show, but after the show, when I woke up the next morning, it was right at 100, and I was pretty stoked about that. Hello, JDL, welcome. All right, so let's see. What are so tell me. Some of you have already kind of mentioned it a little bit, but tell me what you all are planning on working on for this Songtember. What do you have cooking? And because I'm curious to hear what everybody else is going to do. So for me, I'm just continuing the album. By the way, the album I didn't mention the title. The title that I've settled on, and it's going to be a dark album, which may not come as a surprise to anybody. It's going to be very dark and very real, and that's kind of what I do. But this one may be particularly dark. But it's called. It's going to be called Perfect Hell, except the hell is a 3. It's going to be H3LL, Perfect Hell. So that's kind of what I've settled on. Hello, Brad Example. Good to see you. And hello to Abe the Band. Great to have you here with us as well. All right, so so what is everybody cooking up for songs? So what do you got in the pot? Yes, that's it. H3LL, Perfect Hell. Let me know what you got. Let me know what you got cooking. Any grand plans that we have? Are you just doing one song? Or are you gonna do 2? Or are you gonna do 3? You're going to do an EP? You're going to do a whole album? I'm kind of doing a whole album. Psycho 7 says, I've even working on my acoustic remake, but I think a more metally tune is going to come out of me soon. Well, I hope so. I hope so. Because you never know. You send it into You Rock, and there might be a halftime headbang in your future. So, here we go. Abe the Band says, I've got something cool I'm working on. Lots of new instrument sounds and samples. Style is very different. That's awesome. That's really awesome. And Cold Acre says, got 3 originals ready to start. Just got to pick one. Got a Chill Zone song with Leela also, but don't want to rush that to a deadline. Yeah, and that's the thing. Pete was talking about in the original announcement about the commitment and the positive time pressure, but that's just it. It's positive time pressure, and it's not saying it's the end of the world if you don't get it done by September 30th or whatever, if you have to take a couple extra days. I mean, I know Pete he's doing his Songtember show for YML. It's going to be I think the 8th of September, so there's going to be a little extra time there. Although I will say, if you want to send your song, if you want to give a sneak preview, you can send it in on what is that, Wednesday? I got to look at my calendar here. What Wednesday is that? If you want to send it in Wednesday the 4th, you can preview it here on You Rock and play it there. If you want, that's always an option. bit.ly/You Rock submit. There should be hopefully a link in the description. Hopefully I put that there. Brad Example says, my favorite Ripcord song is Anarchy. I still love that song. I'd love to do an acoustic version of it. Yeah. That would be a cool thing to work on. That would be a cool thing to work on for Songtember. And then Gore Team says, I'm hoping to finish a new Coax Chrome song. Yeah, there we go. It's been in my head, possibly some new Pseudoscience instrumentals too. Awesome. And thank you so much, Leni. Take care. Glad you could stop in. All right. I think, does anybody else have any insights into what kind of things are you thinking about if you haven't mentioned it? I think, did I get JDL? JDL says I'm working on lots of new original songs, but I have nothing yet for Songtember. Well, It is. And for most of us, today is the very beginning of Songtember. It is Songtember 1st, September 1st. So there's plenty of time. There's like 30 days left, and plenty of time. If you don't know what you're doing or you don't know what you want to do, you can figure it out in the next few days. I was thinking too. This is just a silly thing. I think we need Songtember carols. I think I was thinking of one just before this. I started the stream here, and I was thinking we could do like deck the daw with clips of MIDI, fa la 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 la. Make a song, don't make it shitty, la 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 la. Something like that. there was a second part, and I don't remember what it was, but Abe says I'm making good progress already. It's still going to rock. Yeah. I have a new one premiering tonight that isn't quite as heavy, but has a feel of the new style. Cool. 30 days half Songtember. That could be it. That could be a new carol or something for Songtember. All right, I think I'm gonna get into show you a little bit. This is like kind of a bonus thing because we got some time. I'm going to show you a little bit of some creative process here, and as far as digital, like how do I create, like, it's things like thumbnails. This may or may not end up being what I actually do for the album cover, but it could be. So we'll look at this. So this is what you're looking at on your screen right here. Is this is called Pixelmator Pro, and I'll make it all full screen so you can see the whole thing. And this is what I use to kind of edit and manipulate photographs. So I have 3 pictures in here that could be on the album cover. I'm not sure. Kind of like in this one right here. Now, the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to remove the background. So this Pixelmator Pro is so awesome for removing background. So all I have to do is go to here. There's a few ways to do it. There is remove background, but that sometimes doesn't work as well as I would like it to. What I like to do is select subject, and it'll just go detecting subject. It'll take a minute or two to do this, especially because I'm doing a live stream at the same time. And there it is. It's selected, and it's actually sometimes it doesn't quite get it, but this one's got it perfectly. So then all I have to do is go up here, and I go to invert selection, and we'll go to delete. And there we go. Now we've got just the picture. And it's usually pretty spot on. And if it's not, there's some great tools in here just to adjust the selection. So I just deselect it then. And then, so what I'll do is I'll go, this is my standard process for this. I will go up here. And this is there's a bunch of different kind of like filters that you can use. I'll just show you some of them, but these aren't the ones I use necessarily. So it just kind of like gives you some different looks and different feels. And it's fun to use kind of the wrong ones. I have some special ones that I forget where I got these from, but I think I had to download these separately or something. But anyway, the one I usually use is just in the urban section. I use this number 2, and there we go. Abe says, combine all 3 and make it look like part of you is coming out of yourself. That's a cool idea. Alien Tom with another Alien Tom coming out of the mouth. Those are all fun ideas. But so now I don't just take this as it is. What I will then do is I will go over here to this exposure, and I may knock that down just a little bit. And then I'll put this highlights up a little bit to make the skin a bit lighter. Bring the shadows way down so you get this kind of dramatic look. The brightness, let's kind of just zero that out. Contrast, I like to shoot that up at least like 50%. Black point, we want to get the blacks nice and black on there. Now, these are some new controls that they added. This is why I love Pixelmator, because you can take out some of the texture and the clarity, and it gives you this real like smooth look. You can actually kind of overdo it, and then it looks like a painting or something. But I like it just kind of like that. Zach Thong says, I just learned a new song this past weekend. Song is Renegades by the X Ambassadors. Very cool. So what I'm going to do then is I like to come down here, and this is what's really cool. You can control the hue, saturation, and brightness by color. That's right. You can control the hue, saturation, and brightness by color. This is crazy. So I like to go to the orange and take a lot of the orange out, and it gives you this really pale kind of look. And then I'll actually go to the red, and I increase the saturation. And I mean, you can get it almost so it almost looks like you're wearing like lipstick or something. I don't want it that extreme, but like just taking out that orange and adding the red just looks so cool. Sometimes I'll actually go into here and just remove the overall some of the saturation, but I'm not going to do that here. I think I'm just going to leave that right in the middle. And then the next thing I'm going to do, this is another new thing that they added. So this kind of would be where I would stop usually. I would take this and work with that. But I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go into add this little star thing. This is where you can add effects. And there's all kinds of crazy effects. There's blur, distortion, sharpen, color adjustments. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. You can even turn it into a kaleidoscope if you want. that gets a little bit ridiculous, but you can control like how many so you can have it like look like that. I mean, something like that could be cool in a creative way. Gortium says, I've been getting inspiration today from a Prophet keyboard style plugin. That's cool. Now we're not going to use this kaleidoscope thing. What I'm actually going to use is down here in other. They just added this. I don't really even understand what this does, but what it does is cool. So I like to use it. So I just take this low pass radius and I bring it down, and I bring this high pass radius up, and you see it gives it that real extreme kind of contrast. It's just crazy. The more you have the high pass up and the low pass down, it just adds more and more. So then you get this really cool look. Gorteam says, never seen these features in Paint. Yeah. Zach says, this is very cool. Not something I see myself doing anytime soon. I mean, yeah, this is a little more work than just using like Canvas or something, but or Canva, but like you can get some really far out stuff with this. So now this is just like what I do. This is just the preparatory stuff. So I'll take this and I'll copy it, and then we're going to go into another app, and this is called Logoist 4. And this is the magic app. Now what I have here just looks like a bunch of nonsense, but it'll make sense pretty soon. So first of all, I'm going to go into Edit Artboard, and I'm going to change the size of this. We're going to go pretty big on this, 2,000 by 2,000 pixels, because they like these images big these days, the streaming services and whatnot. And then I'm going to go View, and I'm going to go Zoom to fit, and there we go. So now we're able to do that. So now all this stuff is you're going to say, well, this is really small. So I got all these, by the way, I got all these pictures. There's my logo, but I got all these pictures off of Pixabay. They're just some like stuff that I thought looked kind of spooky and scary. So let's just say for right now, and yeah, Procreate is really easy to use on iPad. I know Leela, when she does her shows, she uses that quite a bit. And then Gorteam says, the fanciest photo editing I got is an old version of Power Director. There is one this one you have to pay. Well, Pixelmator, I think both of these apps are about $40. So you're talking about $80 total to get both of these. I think they're well worth it, but it's kind of up to what you want to do and what you're going to use it for. I'm going to we're going to make all these invisible except for that one right there, because I like that one. I may bring some of these other ones in. But the other ones, I'm just gonna hit that eyeball and put the dot out of the eyeball so that you don't see them. Now, one thing that's frustrating about this Logoist is you have to go over here to scale mode and change that to fit, because otherwise it'll stretch. It by default it's on stretch. So if you just bring something in and you start to like, Gortium says, looks like an easy to use program. It really is. Like this is amazing stuff. I found out about this because of Ron Ward actually put me onto this. Semtex Cal says, at the moment I've used an animation app called ToonSquid to edit video together. Could do with a decent video editor for iOS. That's awesome. I need to check that one out. Hello, Falcro. Welcome. So I'm going to take this image here, and obviously it's way too small. So we need to make this way bigger. So we're going to do that. This can be a little tricky to kind of... There we go. So now we've got it. It's taken up almost the whole thing. And it's bigger than bigger than the size of the thing, but that's gonna actually look pretty cool. So maybe if we can get it just something like that. Now, one of the weird things about this is, like with this logo, some assets that you bring in, Psycho7 says, I bought some assets packages for my PC, but I don't have any photo editor to do my stuff on iOS. Well, I know Jade Star has shown a bunch of apps. I know Superimpose X is very good. There's a few other ones that Jade has done. I do everything on Mac, so I have some of those apps and I've used them, but I primarily stick to Mac. One of the weird things about Logoist is that for some reason, certain assets like this logo, if you really look at the edges, they're kind of like pixelated. So they have this enhanced low-res image, and if you just apply that, it makes it look a little bit less bad, especially if you're going to blow it up bigger. So I tend to do that. So I don't know where I'm going to put this yet in the image. It's going to be, see, it got me. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to hit fit. So it distorted the image when I went to change the size. So I'm just going to put it like down there for right now. That looks all right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the picture that I did. So we're just going to hit, all right, I don't think it, must have lost it. We're going to hit copy over here in Pixelmator. We'll come back, and we're going to hit paste. And there's my beautiful, beautiful picture in here, which I can now, once I hit fit, because you got to remember to do that every single time. There's got to be a setting in here somewhere that I'm missing that where it defaults to fit, but I don't know. It's kind of annoying. Anyway, so we can make this bigger, and we'll see exactly what we're gonna do with that. So now I want to move that up so it's on top. Maybe we put it up there for right now. And already it's looking pretty rad. Thank you, Zach. And thank you, Coldacre, for becoming a Chaos Club member. I appreciate that. You can do that and get cool emojis. All right. So there we go. Now we want to add the title of the album. That would be a logical thing to do. So we'll just add some new text here, and I may want to just let's not do that yet. I might end up duplicating this, because one of the things with this, you got the Russ emojis. There you go. Unfortunately, they don't show up in StreamYard though. That's the annoying thing. But you'll be able to see them. Anyway, so one of the annoying things is that any text that you add has to have the same parameters. So if you want like one word to be bigger, then you have to have two separate instances. So we're just gonna Perfect. And let's look at some fonts. I have been using that font quite a bit. Not that one. I've been using, what is the one I've been? I have a lot of fonts. The font that I have been using for a lot of things lately, and it's a little bit of a branding thing. It's something like Kenyan Coffee. Yeah, Kenyan Coffee. There it is. So actually, I still kind of like that font. I still do kind of like. Now, what's cool about this app is, first of all, let's say we want to make the words a little bit further apart. Well, we can just adjust this tracking, and now we can make the words further apart. Isn't that cool? And let's but we can also go over here, style presets, and then you have all these different options that you can make the text. So you could make it that. You know, these are flat colors, so it's just one solid color. But some of them do have like shadow built into them, which is cool. Of course, you can also add that later. You got these radial gradients. They tend to be a little too. They tend to be a little bit too hard to read. But some of this stuff is kind of cool. You have these glowing edges on some of these. Like something like that could actually be kind of cool. Then you have these glossy ones. I use these a good bit on like thumbnails and things like that. So you just see it, like so many options are here. To just make the text look interesting, make it look cool. Like I may end up going with something like that. Hello, Tremor Bear. What's up, Tremor Bear? Hello, Mark Devereaux. Hello, Pete Johns. Good to see you. We played you from the past earlier today, at the beginning of the show, explaining the original Songtember. And hello, Real, and hello, Gregory O'Sullivan. So this guy right here, Pete Johns, this is the guy who started it all. If you were here at the beginning, you heard where it all came from. We were saying, Pete, we need Songtember carols since it's like Christmas time. All right, so let's just say we want to go with this one. Now, maybe we want to make this border a bit wider. We can easily do that here. There's also inner radius. I don't know what that... Oh, see, that erodes it from the inside. So if you want to erode from the inside and have the outline a little bit like further out, you can do that too. Did I say hello to Tremor Bear? I think I did. Anyway, so let's just say we want to go with that. Now, I'm going to duplicate this, and now we'll have another copy of it. But we're going to make the second word perfect hell. So this is tentatively becoming probably the album title. Hello, Mateus. Thank you for becoming a Chaos Club member as well. All right. So now we can actually change, like if we want to make this word bigger, we can do that. If we want to make it closer together, we can do that. If we want to spread the letters out further apart, we can do that. So there's a lot of options here as far as just creating really cool artwork for your album. Perfect hello. I love it. Now I may want to make this one. Might look cool if this was all capital. I think that would look a little bit better. Then we can kind of fool around with where we exactly want this to go. But let's just go with that for right now. Then I also, a logical thing to put on the cover of an album would be the artist name, even though I do have my logo there already, which I think I want to actually, I like taking this logo, especially in this environment, and using the color controls, which you can add color controls, and now for some reason it makes everything, these should be 1. So 0's 1, 1. If brightness is at 0, saturation is at 1, contrast is at 1, then that's the original image. Now I'm going to increase the saturation a little bit so it's more red. This is just a little thing I like to do there. All right, so we're going to add the artist name, which is, of course, Thomas Christ. So I'm going to do that. And so there we go. There's Thomas Christ. Maybe I'll put an extra space in there. And we can fool around with the size of it and everything. And where do we want to put it, Yeah, right there actually doesn't look terrible. If we have that logo right there. So already, like that could be the album cover, but I want to mess around with it a little bit more, and maybe layer up some of these different. So we have this other thing, and this is just like a face that's in some kind of digital thing. I don't know. I just want to get some texture with this. So I'm gonna make this. Again, we want to use fit. Although honestly, with this one, I could stretch. I don't think that's gonna be a bad thing here, because I don't really care about the actual image. I just want the texture from it, and so we're just gonna layer that over. Now you're gonna say, well, you can't see, so you can make yourself a bit more bright on the left and more dark on the right, so it fits the lighting of the background. Yeah, I mean, we can mess around with that, but for right now, what we can do is we can use this blend mode. So now if you use the blend mode, you can kind of just layer that up in there, and oh, look at that. That's cool. That is cool. Now, I may not want so much of that, but I don't know. There's something that's working. That is kind of working. If I move. That's already looking pretty cool right there, I think. Let's see. Let's see if we can some of these other. I kind of like the hard light too. That's not terrible either. Something like that. Dark and mysterious. Yeah, I mean that's ostensibly that's kind of what we're going for. Badass. Yeah. I don't know about the positioning of everything. Like, I may have to work on that a little bit more. But I think just in like a general sense. If that was like a little closer there. Because I really am going for this, I'm going for this kind of 90s look. Which is, admittedly almost always my goal. To be more 90s. Maybe like that, kind of. And Semtex says need the light matched up with you like your soul is escaping. Yeah. Well, we can also play around with, so you can, you can easily go in and you can add, yes, as Pete says, 90s equals rad. Pete's always right. So you can actually go in and you can add, these color adjustment layers, color controls, and there we go. Now that's obviously going to be, because for whatever reason it defaults to these one. It doesn't default to what the original image is, and that's what it should be. So let's just play around a little bit here. Yeah, maybe a bit more like that, maybe. I don't want to go. Why? I always go less with saturation, not more. Yeah, something like that though. Now one thing that must happen, and there's an easy way to do this too. Because I could go in. I didn't add any shadows to any of these things, and all these things should have shadows, including me. I will add the shadow for me separately. So you just go in, you add the shadow. You can play around with the offset of it and the opacity. You could see it a little bit better if you make the opacity darker. If you make it lighter, you can't see it as much. But I also like what this radius does, because it just kind of blurs it out. So then that looks pretty cool. Just like that. Drop some fire. I drop fire on everything. I got to chill with that. Yeah, but maybe something like that could work. The kindergarten was really nice. See, you're like the baby among us. Sometimes I felt like I was the baby, because there's so many people that are like I'm 60, I'm 50, you know. I'm only 41, but yeah. But anyway, so now we added the shadow to me, but now we need to add shadows to all of this stuff. So the easy way to do this is to just make it a group. And then now it's all one unit. And then go in here and you can add the shadow. And now it's going to add shadow to all. And you know what I realized I did? I did all that, but I should have included the logo as well. So we'll group all of this. Just group it. And you could think of this like audio tracks, really. It's like when you group a bunch of tracks together and then you apply an effect to all the tracks. Like if you do like a track stack in Logic or something, it's kind of the same principle here. There's a lot of parallels between the audio world and the graphic design world. So I'll just go into shadow here, and we add the shadow just like that. And then again, we can adjust like where that shadow falls, so that's a little bit tighter there. And we'll expand that radius out and we don't want to make it that dark, because that's way too dark, but a little bit. Now something that I like to do, but I've kind of stopped doing it as much as I used to, is you can add a glow to things too. Now I just added a glow there. I'm not really seeing it too much, but oh yeah, there it is. It defaults to orange, which is a terrible color, but I just kind of like this middle color. And you can make everything glow. And if you back that off so that it's barely perceptible, it does just kind of like highlight things. Oh, look at this! Look at this guy, Coldacre, second only to the 80s. Psh, 80s when everything was all corporate, and I mean, well, it's always corporate, but And I don't know about the 80s, man. But I was just listening to a great album from the 80s. If you want to listen to a great album from the 80s, you should go listen to Devo. They had an album in 1984 called Shout. And it's not Devo's most popular album by any stretch of the imagination, but it is so great. And it's like what when you think of 80s music in your mind, if you think of 80s music in your mind, you imagine what 80s music sounds like. And of course, it's going to be very electronic and lots of Fairlight synths and lots of vocoder and stuff like that. This album has all of that. It's like exactly what you would imagine 80s music would be. So I highly recommend you listen to Shout by Devo. I highly recommend you listen to all of Devo's music because it's fantastic. But yeah, definitely listen to that. So I'm actually going to I want to save this because this may not be the final version of the album, but I just wanted to show you kind of what can be done in these two apps, Pixelmator Pro and Logo is 4. I'm kind of surprised more people aren't using these because they're just incredible apps. There is a Pixelmator Pro as it were for iOS, but I haven't used it. I think it's like a subscription thing though. So it's like a lot of things. You have the Mac version that it's just a one-time thing, and then you have the iOS version and its subscription. I don't know why that is. Cold Acre says, "Hey, alternative started in the 80s. It was underground. Jane's Addiction, Chili Peppers, Sonic Youth, Soundgarden, all making albums back then." I mean that's technically true. Wasn't very well known. It was very underground at the time. But a lot of the great stuff like Nine Inch Nails started in the 80s technically. Yeah, I mean, but I'm just thinking of like when stuff is most associated with, even though maybe that's not. I know Tool started way back in the 80s, but I don't think they were called something else. I don't remember what the original title was for Tool, but they were definitely performing, and they were performing songs like Sober and stuff too, way back in the 80s, like in the mid 80s even. And thank you, Zach. So there we go. We kind of have something started at least for an album cover. I don't know if that's where I'm going to settle on this. I could work on this for hours and hours, and I probably will. But it's a nice little start. Just really wanted to make sure that you knew about these apps and what they could do. Logo is 4 and Pixelmator Pro. I stand by them. I think they're pretty freaking fantastic. And if you're gonna be making art for your whatever you're doing in Songtember, you're probably gonna be making artwork for it. So there's just some cool options if you're on Mac. Faith No More with Chuck rocks in the 80s. Yeah, Faith No More. I mean, Faith No More went back quite a ways, I think, into the 80s also. So it's a little bit similar to same thing with Tool, you know. So anyway, that's gonna kind of like do it. I wish you all the best for Songtember. So what my plan is, I may sneak another live stream in at some point. We'll see how we go. But I'm gonna do little videos that I'm gonna put out, so that you can see what's happening and a little bit of behind the scenes kind of stuff, like you got to see here today. And maybe even a little bit more of that kind of thing on the Patreon if you want to sign up over there. I got to get back to doing some more live streams. It's just a matter of finding the time has been the difficulty lately. But yeah, if you want to sign up on the Patreon, that would be great. Also helps the channel, and you get solid gold rocker status for you rock. So there's a lot to be gained there, I think. Falcro says, "I will be happy if I just have a song, even if it isn't finished." Yeah, I want to hear the Falcro song. I don't think I've heard any music yet, so that would be really cool. And hello, Andy. I don't know if I said hello. Anyway, So there we go. That's we've launched Songtember. We've talked about the history of it. We talked about my history in regards to Songtember. A little bit about what I'm doing this year. Going to continue working on this album right here, Perfect Hell, and hopefully by the end of the month have it done. That would be, or at least have a couple songs that I can put out for it anyway. Oh yeah, Metallica was in the 80s, definitely. Thank you, Jade. Appreciate that. Jade Starr is up next, as it turns out, and she is going to be working on some Songtember music. So stay tuned. Don't touch that dial, folks. Keep it right here. Well, don't keep it. Well, follow you're gonna follow the thing. The thing will take you where you need to go. So I thank you. I'll be back tomorrow. So there you go. There's the link for it if you don't want to wait for the dump. Tomorrow I'll be back doing some Songtember songs, I think, for my Thomas Christ live show. So I hope you'll join me for that. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by Jade Starr and Pete Johns as always. And so much love. Take care, everybody, and keep rocking in Songtember. Let's go. Bye-bye.